Good morning.
Good morning and welcome to Media Pulse, the show where we help you make sense of Thai politics.
Okay, after weeks of bargaining and horse trading, we finally have a government.
It has been a chaotic scramble.
Very much so. But when it comes to reporting and commenting on politics, the Thai media can be very brutal.
Brutally honest, I would say.
That's why they have wasted no time in giving the new government some eyebrow-raising monikers. What do they call this new government?
We have family cabinet, dynastic cabinets as well. Let's look at some headlines. Actually, we have a lot of headlines that use that term, family cabinet. So let's start with this first one from Than Sethakit. It actually talks about a look into family cabinet, inheritance of power, and owning the heir. The heir obviously refers to the Prime Minister. The next one.
This is a more polite one.
This is a polite one. Okay, let's look at the next one from Isara News. Isara News actually says, dissecting Paetongtarn's family cabinet, who are sending siblings, children, and relatives to take ministerial portfolios.
Who is who in the Paetongtarn cabinet? Who is whose daughters? Who is whose brothers?
We also have another one, family quota in the cabinet. This one's from Amarin TV. And even our Thai PBS News says Paetongtarn's first cabinet and the accusations about family members.
Okay. This kind of labeling will certainly continue to haunt Paetongtarn for quite a while, right?
Exactly.
No, but the Thai media have given the Paetongtarn government these monikers for good reason. Because even a quick glance at many of the individuals in the new cabinet is enough to lead many people to conclude that the Paetongtarn cabinet is very much a family affair.
Yes, that's why we have these headlines basically. But raising the most eyebrow is the brand new Deputy Minister of Interior.
Ms. Sabida Chaise,
Yes.
a 39 years old political rookie. And the Thai media have pointed out that the only reason she has been given the post is because it was the wish of her father, who is none other than Kun Chada Chaise, a veteran politician of Thepchai Thai, one of the major parties in the Paetongtarn coalition.
Well, he is an influential figure in Uthai Thani province, and but there was a case he was suspected in a murder case in 2003.
So many years back, he was widely known as an influential figure in the central province of Uthai Thani before he jumped into national politics. As you mentioned, he was a suspect in a murder case back in 2003, but was acquitted 2 years later. But the case somehow has persistently come back to haunt him, along with many other scandals.
Exactly. But what did the leader of Thepchai Thai party has to say? So Kun Anutin, with this headline, talks about Kun Sabida. So he said she has a good profile and a good physiognomy.
Physiognomy.
I know, I'm going to butcher that word. Okay, let's try it again. Physiognomy.
Okay.
Sorry.
Now, Kun Anutin was referring to a supposed form of reading a person's facial features, which are considered as an indication of that person's personality. So Kun Anutin was simply suggesting that her good profile and her good physiognomy
See, we're butchering
should
that word again.
compensate for her lack of governance experience.
Yeah, well, it's a very Asian thing, isn't it?
That's right. Good. Sabina, as we said, she is only 39 years old. She studied laws at the Assumption University and has a Master of Laws from the UK.
Okay, yes, exactly. And yeah, before entering politics, she helped with her family businesses and later worked as an assistant to her father during his time as the Deputy Interior Minister in the Sethar government.
And as expected, Sabina was hounded by reporters for the past 2 days. And the question she kept being asked was, what do you think of your qualifications?
Yeah.
And her only answer was, only time will tell.
Only time will tell. So yeah, time will tell. So we'll give her some time. Exactly. Yeah. And equally controversial, we have another person in this cabinet as well. We're talking about the appointment of the new Deputy Agriculture Minister, Clare Phompao.
All right. Accra is the younger brother of Kun Thammanat Phompao,
Yes.
and another influential and also very controversial politician who is leading an internal rebellion in Palang Pracharat Party, which was a major partner in the former Thai-led coalition government, but it has been kicked out of the new government formed by Kun Paetongtarn.
Yeah.
And Kun Thammanat, of course, has a very interesting history. He was jailed for 4 years in 1994 for his role in a heroin smuggling case in Australia. Opposition politicians back in 2021 tried unsuccessfully to have the Constitutional Court declare Kun Thammanat unfit for office. He was serving as Deputy Agriculture Minister at the time. The court said it did not recognize Kun Thammanat's conviction because the verdict was delivered in a foreign country, that was Australia.
Exactly. Yeah, and the newspaper headline just now from Daily News basically said he sent his younger brother to the post this time. So yeah, he has chosen to be on the safe side, I guess, and that's why he shows his brother.
Okay.
As a result of the ruling, the formal ruling on Seth's case, who appointed Patchimanon, so they wanted to avoid that potential problem.
So no matter what critics have to say about the Constitutional Court's ruling that resulted in the ouster of Kun Sethha Thavisin as Prime Minister, there are people who see some kind of a blessing of the ruling as well. Because at the end of the day, for somehow, the ruling has put the issue of integrity and professional ethics at the forefront of the qualification of cabinet members. This is something that never happened before.
Yeah, that's why it took so long to form the cabinet, because they were rechecking the profiles of all the ministers to be nominated.
That's right. And that's the reason why Kun Chada Thaiset and Kun Thammanat are out of the cabinet, because of the history, which is quite tainted. So to be on the safe side, both have chosen to stay out.
Out of the cabinet, but not out of the picture.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
We do have a caricature that describes the current situation in the government quite well, I think. Let's look at the cartoon. This illustrates the circumstance that we have.
What does it say?
It says this is the scene in the playground, and the children are boarding the ship of state. It says Ratnawa. So if you read Plato, I think that's where it's from. The label on the boat reads Ing's Cabinet, and we have two parents putting their children on the boat saying, "Let my child join in." And the other person says, "Have fun playing, my brother."
Okay.
From
It's very telling, this cartoon, very telling of the true state of things at this very moment. Right.
Who's driving the boat though? It says, the boat's about to leave, so hold on tight.
Okay. All right, besides the cases of Sabida and Accra, you have to remember these two names. They will be featured quite prominently in the Thai media from this point on.
Yes.
Sabida and Accra.
And we have
Beside these two, I mean, several other new cabinet members are also direct descendants of powerful political clans that have been dominating Thai politics.
Well, another example would be Ekanath Phompan.
That's right. Yeah.
Right? And he's to become the new Minister of Industry. He's actually the adopted son of Suthep Thaugsuban, the former leader of PDRC.
All right, another political descendant.
Yes, so from this headline it says, Ekanath Phompan from PDRC to Shin family-led government. And it's got a quote from him as well. He says, "I did not forget, did not erase history, but I'm making a choice."
Yeah. Ekanath was prominent in his role in the demonstrations against the Yingluck government. But now he has been brought under the wings of the Thepchai party.
Yeah, which is quite a big U-turn, because
Very
if we
U-turn,
look
a
at the
big
next
irony.
picture, we have him leading the rally against the Yingluck government back
That was back in 2014, just shortly before the Yingluck government was ousted,
Yeah.
and he was one of the key leaders. But now he is sleeping in the same bed with Kun Thaksin now.
Yes, so yeah, a big U-turn.
No, but to say the least, I mean, having descendants taking over their political positions is not something unusual in Thai politics. So whatever you call it, dynastic politics or political nepotism, it has been a common practice in Thailand.
I've seen the term nepo-babies being used a lot in the foreign media.
Yeah. And of course, the most obvious of all is none other than the Prime Minister, Kun Paetongtarn herself. She is widely seen as the nominee of her father, Kun Thaksin Shinawatra, who is now known as the kingpin of Thepchai party, and who is very much believed to be pulling the strings from behind in the formation of his daughter's coalition government.
Yeah.
So what we are telling you is this: we should expect the Thai media to continue to label the Paetongtarn government as the family cabinet or dynastic cabinet for many, many months to come.
They don't seem to be bothered by it though. And Kun Paetongtarn actually said, there's a quote from her, she says, families are not liabilities, but they provide encouragement.
I see. And Kun Phumtham Vechayachai, the new Deputy Prime Minister, who doubles as Defense Minister, also had something to say about this. He said, don't judge a book by its cover. He said the media should wait and see how the new cabinet members perform before passing any judgment.
So we have a headline from Prachasha Thurakit. It said, Phumtham asked the media not to use the term family cabinet, and he emphasizes that they choose people with potential for the job.
All right. Since we are on Kun Phumtham.
Oh yeah, we have this picture. Okay, cool.
Right.
So basically, Kun Phumtham is now at the Ministry of Defense.
Yeah, and he's
looking after the military, the armed force.
He is a deputy prime minister, one of the many deputy prime ministers, and also doubles as defense minister.
But this picture here.
Okay. No, his appointment as defense minister is probably the most interesting and probably is the most ironic, in the sense that 40 years back, he was battering the same armed forces that he is now in charge as defense minister. And the picture you saw on the screen, you see on the screen right now, was taken when he was a leader of the student movement fighting for democracy before it was crushed in a brutal crackdown by right-wing extremists on the campus of Thammasat University in October 1976. And he was one of the thousands of students who fled the city to join the Communist Party of Thailand, which was then waging a war against the central government.
So long story short, a former communist supporter who is now in charge of the Ministry of Defense.
That's right. That's the biggest irony of all. In fact, when he was in the jungle, he was known by his jungle name, Comrade Yai. Yai means big, Comrade Big, right? But under an amnesty program then introduced by the government of General Prem Tinsulanont, Phumtham abandoned the armed struggle and returned to the fold. And he was later recruited by Kun Thaksin Shinawatra, then a budding politician, to join a new political party Kun Thaksin was setting up.
I know that a lot of military personnel during General Prem's time is no longer alive, but I'm sure that a lot of them has something to say about this.
It's certainly Kun Phumtham's appointment as defense minister has triggered an outcry among many of the former senior members of the armed forces who had experience in fighting against communists. Now, a former communist is in charge of the armed forces.
They're not happy about it.
It's something they find to be unacceptable. But is there anything they can do? Probably not.
Probably not. Okay, so
but in their eyes, Kun Phumtham, who is now 71, has succeeded in doing what he was unable to do when he was a communist. That is taking over the military without firing a single shot.
Oh dear. So is this the end of the political divide? All sides scrambled and then joined forces, forming a coalition government. Now we have former Democrats, part of the Democrats, former communist leader. Who else? So is this the end?
Yeah, that's a big question that many people have been asking, whether with all these all parties that once used to be rivals are getting together on the same page now, will the political divide that has troubled the country for 2 decades at least ended? All right, we may say that Thai politics is now back in order, or should we say back to square one, in the sense that, as I said, politicians who were once adversaries are now shaking hands and sharing the spoils, no street protests, the military staying aloof, very much like in the good old days. But the question is whether or not the political polarization that has gripped the country for 2 decades is over.
Well, for now, maybe at least, I think.
Many political analysts believe so, that at least for the time being anyway, all the hatches have been buried, but for how long, nobody knows.
Yeah. We've actually been talking about the government quite a lot. We didn't talk about the opposition, because now they have, remember, back then the Move Forward Party, when they were campaigning, they said, if there's the uncle, mi lung, mi lao. But now they have the lung with them in the opposition.
They had no choice. They have no choice. They were forced to band together for some reason. But whether or not they can be able to work together is another question. No, but back to the issue of political divide and possible political reconciliation. It's very obvious that Kun Thaksin Shinawatra, the former Prime Minister, who has been very active politically, has emerged as a political kingpin right now. And he has been able, at least for the time being anyway, in bringing all the major parties under the wings of his Pheu Thai party, with a professed aim of bringing about political reconciliation. But as we have been saying, that the question is whether the current peace and quiet a signal that the political divide is no longer here. I think that's a big question.
No more red shirts, yellow shirts. But there's a rally planned. There's a new rally happening this weekend. Yeah,
because it doesn't mean that with Thaksin pulling the strings the way he's doing now, there is no opposition to his role or to the role being played by Pheu Thai party.
So we do have, like this weekend as we're talking, they have, I think 3 groups banding together to, they're having an event at the Rajadamnern Avenue.
They're interesting because the 3 groups behind this planned demonstration were once very active in the protests against both the Thaksin government and Yingluck government. And they call this rally this afternoon, the theme is Shinawatra regime exposed episode 1.
Episode 1.
That means that this is the beginning of a series of activities that they're supposed to be planning.
Okay, so whether or not there's going to be a big outcry and spiral into something chaotic again.
No, in fact, these 3 groups that are organizing this rally this afternoon, which they are the network of students and people that are campaigning for reform, and a group of ultra-loyalists and the so-called Dhamma army, which is closely linked to the Santi Asok, a well-known ascetic sect of Buddhism. These 3 groups, in fact, have been, before the latest unfolding of the political events, these 3 groups of activists held a sustained rally near the government house for months to protest the preferential treatment for Thaksin after his return from self-exile last August, right? Remember that?
Yes.
And Thaksin was allowed to serve his jail term in the police hospital for reason of illnesses, right? Without having to spend a single day behind bars. And these people have been rallying for months, but didn't make much headlines because the protests were low profile.
Now they have a reason to gather and and protest. And it's only episode 1, as you said. So there might be episode 3, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right. So.
Who knows? So yeah.
But we don't expect the rally this afternoon to spiral into a larger street demonstration that we witnessed in the past anyway.
Yeah.
Because
there's no momentum.
The momentum isn't there, and the reasons that would stimulate, the rest of the people in the society to join in such activities are not there. I think the factors that once drove tens of thousands of people onto the streets many years back, are not here today.
But I think it's also interesting to note that the protest is actually happening today on the 7th, even before the government actually make their policy statement, which is expected on the 11th.
These are hardline anti-Thaksin, anti-Ying activists, so they didn't want to waste any time. All right.
Always ready. So that's it. I guess that's it for this week. Thank you for joining us. We'll be here again next Saturday with more things about politics to talk about, because obviously we'll have a lot of stories to talk about once the government actually starts working.
Yeah, all right. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.